You're watching the best of Gulls All Access.
Plain and simple. Hunter Drew has got to set the tone here tonight.
The fight here, Hunter Drew gets the first one in and a second one. He's able to fend off the right.
Hunter Drew straight away shoots and scores! Unbelievable!
Hunter Drew has got a howitzer. That means you've got a great shot. That's what Hunter Drew's got.
We're pleased to be joined with Hunter Drew Ford for the San Diego Gulls. And Ford, that's a new term for you this year. Last year you played a little bit as a forward, but primarily a defenseman at the pro level. How did the conversation come about for you to become a forward?
Last year was kind of like a spur of the moment, like guys up on the taxi squad, kind of need someone to fill in. Played a few games. Obviously we had a different coach last year, but Dino was like, okay, well, you're kind of doing all right. Maybe we'll keep you here for a little bit, and then I kind of just took it and ran with it, and now we're here.
We're good. All right.
What sparked your interests in hockey? Like going back to the early years, obviously Kingston, Ontario native, probably just Leafs madness. Is that what drew you to the sport?
I have an older brother who's 2 years older than me, and he started playing hockey, and then I also have a twin brother, so my parents said, well, I'll put these two in there. And then, I don't know, I guess the three of us have just played for forever.
Did you ever get thrown in net when you were playing with your brothers?
My twin brother was actually a goalie, so I'm fortunate enough to not have to battle through that. He's a little crazier than me, I guess, but no, I didn't have to do that, so that's good.
Is there any NHL player that you kind of grew a shine to growing up?
I was a big Sidney Crosby bandwagon kind of guy, so, I obviously don't play anything like him, but when you're younger, it's fun to watch someone like that control the game and lead the way that he did.
Elvin Estolatieri shoots! Score!
Yes!
Your story into junior hockey is actually very interesting. Can you give fans an insight of how a Kingston, Ontario player who generally should be in the OHL ended up in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League?
Yeah, it's actually crazy. I grade 12, graduated high school. I actually was going to quit hockey. I was just going to go to college, local community college at home, and kind of start my life like that. And then probably a month left in the summer, one of the guys I was training with, one of my good buddies, Leaf Hertz, he was playing out in Nova Scotia. I'd never heard of the league or the team or anything, and I actually just met him that summer. And he called his coach out there, that was actually a junior A team, and said, talked about me a little bit, and they offered me to come out there and play. So, I kind of had to train a little bit harder. And then once that my junior team in the Quebec League, Charlottetown, found out that I was going out there, they kind of gave me a chance to come to training camp that year before I went down to Nova Scotia. And then, I kind of never made it to Nova Scotia. I just made the team in the Quebec League out of camp. And I guess the rest is history till now.
Hey! I wound up a little. I should have just ripped it. Their D came over pretty quick, though.
The first year compared to the second year, and obviously I didn't watch you then, but statistically you had strides improvement. What worked for you in that second year in the Q?
I think for me it was just the off season. One thing, an easy way to get on the ice more is shooting goalie ice. I think that kind of teaches you, you learn from a goalie side of things, like what are they doing to stop the puck? So you learn as a player, like, what do I have to do to score? What do I have to do to put my teammates in a position to score? So I'm grateful for all those opportunities. If goalies would always find out that I'd love shoot, so they'd be calling me to come out, and eventually you're just getting on the ice every day and you're working out every day, and you kind of just become a better skater. You become, you shoot the puck a lot better, your hands get better, so everything kind of gradually comes together. And then I'm obviously a little bit different. My second year was at 19, so I was just genetically a little bit bigger and stronger than guys, so I kind of used that as part of my game and just grew from there.
Not only were you producing points, but you were the most penalized player in the queue too. What do you think of that when someone tells you that?
I think it's hilarious. I love that. I like getting in the mix a little bit and getting gritty and creating space for not just myself, but for my teammates. And I really enjoy that.
Transition in, Drew shoots and scores!
Hunter Drew is the first San Diego Gull to hit double digits in goals. He leads the team.
You just talked about giving up and not even thinking about hockey, and then you're drafted by the Ducks. What do you remember about that day?
Not much. I mean, I was actually golfing in the morning. Just with a couple buddies. My dad was golfing too. He wasn't even home. We were at different courses, and I came home and fell asleep. I remember my mom and my uncle were in the living room, and I just woke up to a phone call from my agent, kind of half asleep, and then he told me the news, and I was obviously woke up pretty quick and ran downstairs, told my mom and obviously my uncle that was there, and then within 5 minutes, my dad came home from golf, and I don't know, all day people are knocking on my door and calling me and texting me, and it was awesome. A lot of support from my town, and people who watched me kind of overcome a lot of things and go through a lot of adversity. And to this day, they still support me, so I appreciate them.
Last season, you started in Slovakia. What drew you to play over there? Was it just an opportunity to get games while we were still fighting COVID over here?
Yeah, it was kind of something I talked about with my agent, just saying, what can I do? COVID, I couldn't even skate at home. I couldn't even go to the gym. Like in Ontario, we were locked right down. So any opportunity that I had to kind of get out and go somewhere was nice. And then my agent called me and said he had a team in Slovakia and you can go over and play. Weird, one of my best buddies from back home also plays in the American League. We actually went over together, so it was pretty comforting kind of knowing that I had someone from back home going into a random country, you don't know anyone. And yeah, I got, I think 20 games in there. That was big for my development to go over there. And the ice is a lot bigger, so I think it improved my skating a little bit and helped me realize, I have a little more time on the ice than I thought and kind of work out a lot of kinks. I learned a lot over there, and I think everything that I took over there and tried to kind of implement into my game last year and obviously coming into this year. So,
what do you like to be known for on the ice when teams are playing you and the Ontario Reign or the Colorado Eagles are talking about the team of the Gulls and they talk about Hunter Drew? What do you want the coaches and the other team to look at you as?
I think, now that I'm a forward, I think power forward would be the term that, I would kind of use to describe myself, and I hope other teams are, kind of saying the same thing. I'm not necessarily out there to score goals or create offensively. It's kind of more of a bonus. I think for me, if I can just get out there and create space, I want to, have defensemen, if my line mates dump the puck in or I dump the puck in, I want people to be second guessing when I'm coming on the forecheck and know that I'm coming and I'm going to be heavy and obviously try and produce offensively and add that part to my game.
So far, you're only 23 years old, but as you look back at your hockey career, we can talk about junior, whatever the case may be. What is your greatest hockey achievement to this point?
I guess I'd have to say getting drafted. Like I said, going from almost quitting hockey and then, a year and a half later, kind of hearing your name called in the NHL draft's a huge moment. And obviously, the goal is to play in the NHL, and I'm not there yet, but every day that's, what I'm working towards. And I think that's kind of really when you feel like you've made it, obviously, is when you get there, and that's what I'm striving towards. But to get drafted, I think is basically the first, kind of step in that direction, and I've kind of just been going from there.
For anyone watching this, and this doesn't even have to be any young hockey players, this could be anybody in general overcoming whatever obstacle it is in life. I mean, you were almost at the end of high school and you're thinking about just calling it quits on hockey, and here you are playing in the second best league in the world. For anyone watching this, what does that mean? Like, can you give any advice to anybody who's facing obstacles and thinking about giving up?
Yeah, it sounds cliche, but you have to work hard, you have to not quit. And one thing that I learned is, not just hockey, but like you said, any job, somebody's always watching. Somebody's always keeping an eye on you. Someone's looking at what you're doing. Someone's going to give you an opportunity, and it may not come right when you want it or when you think you need it, but if you just put your head down and keep moving forward, something's going to come.
For more Gulls All Access, tune in to Fox 5 San Diego, Fridays at 2:30 p.m.